Under the Accounts drop-down and Sales, we will see a full sales dashboard outlining the status of any current invoices that are not paid as yet. Drilling down on any one of these status levels will show me the full list of the individual invoices with that status. Also on the sales dashboard, I can see graphs or charts showing me what customers owe the most, which I can view as a list or as a pie chart, and I can also see a bar chart showing when that money is due to come in and who it is due to come in from. To add a new invoice, there is a new button at the top of the screen where I have a number of options under the drop-down. I am able to create a new invoice, an invoice that repeats on a regular basis, a credit note, or even invoice a whole group of contacts at the same time. What I'm going to show you is a sales invoice on its own. Enter your customer name, the date of the invoice, and the appropriate due date. By adding a plus sign and a number of days, this will add on 30 days to the invoice date. The invoice number is sequential, so if you have worked up to a certain invoice number outside of Xero, you are able to bring this into Xero and continue with that sequence under the invoice settings. You are also able to set up different types of branding themes for different templates of invoices within Xero, and I will show you how to do this in just a second. Wherever you see this paper icon within Xero, you are able to attach a supporting document. I can easily enter information on a sales invoice just by typing it in. If I have a more in-depth description on my sales invoices, it may be that I wish to set up a set of items, which we call inventory items within Xero. We have an example of these inventory items within the demo company. I'm going to show you the example of book and what this pulls through to the invoice. This has pulled through a standard description, standard unit price, a standard account code, and a standard VAT rate. Therefore, all I need to do is change the quantity on my invoice, and this will be updated correctly. So if you sell some specific services or goods within your business, do consider setting up inventory items for these, as it will make completing those invoices a lot quicker. Once you have completed the bulk of the invoice, you have a number of options available, and this will also depend upon your user permission role. You may only have the option to save this as a draft and save and submit for approval. This will then move on to the next user level up, who will review the invoice information and approve it within Xero. You could part complete an invoice, save, and then come back to it at a later date if you so wish. Or if you have the appropriate user permissions, you can approve the invoice, which is when it will be posted within your financial statements. Once an invoice is approved in Xero, this can be emailed out to the customer for them to view or print their own copy of that invoice. There is an email button embedded into each invoice that will bring open a standard email. If the contact has an email address against their contact information in Xero, this will be pulled up automatically. We can set up a number of different email templates within Xero. What we are using here is a basic sales invoice email, informing the customer of the invoice number and amount, the due date, and giving them a link to view and pay the bill online. A link on the email takes the customer to an online view of the invoice, which we can see on screen now. If you have set up payment services such as PayPal, for example, the customer may click the Pay Now button to pay the invoice immediately, and that will be updated against the invoice within your Xero organization. The customer may wish to leave comments on the invoice if they believe that something is not quite right, and this will be sent back to you to view at a later date. The customer can pull down a PDF or a CSV version of the invoice, and if the customer uses Xero themselves, they can select Save, and this may create a draft bill within their Xero organization, saving them duplicating the data entry themselves. Back to the invoice in Xero. In the History and Notes activity at the bottom of the screen, we can now see that the invoice was viewed online, and we can see the date and time at which our customer has viewed that invoice. This therefore prevents those times where our customers may come back to us saying they have not received the invoice, as we can see here clearly that it has been viewed online as the online invoice link was clicked from the email. I previously mentioned branding your invoice templates within Xero, so I will show you how to do this now under Settings, General Settings, Invoice Settings in the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Here I am able to upload my business logo on any invoice template I create, and this will show up on my invoices when they are printed or viewed online. You can create as many branding themes as you like, so you can cover different goods or services you provide with a different invoice template if you so wish. In Options and Edit, we can view what elements of the invoice can be changed or included. We can leave standard payment terms and payment advice on the bottom of an invoice. We can put in our PayPal account address here if we are accepting payments via that payment gateway. And we can select or deselect some of the options to show certain things on our invoice or not. It's completely up to you and very flexible. If you wanted to show your social media links in your online invoices, these can be added under Settings, General Settings, Organisation Settings. Here is where we can upload our logo, we can put in a description of our business, including our registration number, we can have our full contact details, and if we have a separate postal address to our physical address, these can be maintained. In the Add Contact field options, we are able to add in our Skype address, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook or Google Plus information, and these will show up on our invoice if we so wish.